This will be a really great session for connecting innovators. I'm Janet Longmore. I'm the founder of Digital Opportunity Trust. I founded DOT 18 years ago. Very much a trailblazer as a woman in an area of technology-enabled development. And the DOT model is a very simple but powerful idea where we recruit and mobilize the talent of local young people here on the continent and also in the Middle East and North Africa. And these are university graduates who are tech savvy and are graduating into unemployment. I think maybe some of us can relate to that. And we mobilize this talent through our local operations. And these very incredibly talented youth, young women and men, go back to their home communities and work with multiple numbers of their peers to build digital literacy skills, social innovation skills, social entrepreneurship, and moving into creating social enterprises. So we have a footprint in 25 countries around the world. I have been privileged to become, through my work as a social entrepreneur, a member of the Schwab Foundation, which is associated with the World Economic Forum, and a member of the Ashoka Network. And so bringing all those really innovative ideas of what's going on in this space into the work we do in the networks of partners that we work with. So I am passionate about youth-led, technology-enabled solutions to the challenges our communities face. So nice, wonderful panel to be here. I'm delighted.
Thank you, Janet. Dr Yves Mogao, voudrez-vous bien nous dire un peu qui vous êtes et ce que vous faites dans le secteur d'innovation et de recherche?
Ok, bon, là je vais parler en français, donc prenez vos écouteurs, pour ceux qui ne comprennent pas. Je suis chercheur au centre de recherche du diabète de Montréal. Et je travaille sur le diabète type 2. Je fais plus de la recherche fondamentale et je travaille exactement sur la cellule pancréatique bêta. C'est une cellule qui sécrète de l'insuline. Et ce que j'essaie de faire, j'essaie de trouver des mécanismes que la cellule peut utiliser pour empêcher effectivement le développement du diabète et pour prévenir le diabète. Donc plus c'est dans le sens de développement de cibles thérapeutiques. J'essaie de trouver des cibles thérapeutiques pour plus tard faire du développement de médicaments. Donc je travaille beaucoup aussi avec des compagnies pharmaceutiques. Et récemment, comme vous devez peut-être le savoir ici au Rwanda, donc j'ai découvert une enzyme métabolique, une enzyme antidiabétique qui a fait un peu de bruit parce que c'était une première depuis les années 60. C'était, je peux dire, j'étais le premier Africain à avoir découvert ce type d'enzyme. Et le premier jeune chercheur aussi, on va dire, au monde, parce que c'était la première depuis les années 60. Donc c'était quelque chose quand même de très intéressant qui m'a beaucoup motivé en tant que jeune chercheur. Et en tant que jeune chercheur, parce que quand on fait de la recherche, il faut être optimiste et persévérant, surtout patient. La recherche, surtout la recherche fondamentale, c'est ça. Parce que tout est bâti à partir de la recherche fondamentale. Sans la recherche fondamentale, il n'y aura pas de médicaments, on ne peut pas avoir de médicaments. Donc, je ne vais pas trop m'attarder, je pense qu'on aura le temps de discuter un peu plus de ça. En gros, c'est ça que je fais et je suis très content d'être ici, au Rwanda, chez moi, en train de sensibiliser la jeunesse de ce que c'est la recherche fondamentale. Et j'espère qu'après cette session, j'aurai pas mal de monde qui vont me dire là, je pense que je vais m'y mettre. Et espérons que les autorités aussi vont suivre pour essayer de s'impliquer et faire avancer la recherche fondamentale ici en Afrique. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Yves. And I hope you have been able to find the channels. So channel 1 is for English and channel 2 is for French. And as you've heard, what he just explained is too complicated for me to translate. It's special translation. Merci, Yves. And now I'd like Lionel to introduce himself and tell us a bit more about the work that he does as an innovator, the youngest in the panel. So welcome, Lionel.
Thank you. My name is Lionel Fizi, and I don't think I am the youngest. Just joking. I am the co-founder and CEO of Osamity Lab, which is a small startup in Rwanda that does mobile apps and web platforms. So I started my entrepreneur journey about 4 or 5 years ago. I had the chance after graduating high school to participate in a fellowship that was organized by DMM Hehe, and it really challenged us to find problems in our community and then try to solve them using technology. And after that, I decided that this could be an opportunity for me. And then together with my friends, we got together and then started this small company. We're just 4. And we had the goal to transform what we saw. We believe that local can make products to solve local needs, and that is what we went on to do. And 3 years later, we've had the chance to grow the company to up to 12 young, talented people. We have had the chance to work with Rwandan clients as well as 4 other countries in Africa, and we've developed about 10 solutions in health, education, and most recently transport. In the beginning of this year, our Osamity Lab had the chance to win the tender with Volkswagen, which allows us to prove that Rwanda can really deliver solutions at an international standard. So what we're doing is building mobile apps that help people get access to cars without having to buy them. And that is what we've been working on for this year. So that is me.
Thank you very much, Lionel. So my next question is generic, and it goes to all 3 of you. What silos do you see in the innovation world? What challenges do you see as someone who works with youth-led initiatives, as someone who's a researcher, as someone who's working in developing new solutions as well? What's the biggest challenge when it comes to these innovators connecting to either researchers so they can have access to data, or connecting to other innovators as well to understand basically what it takes to develop a product and to answer the need that they see? What's the main challenge that you see? I'll start with Janet and then
Okay. Thank you. And it's a very good question, because we know there's challenges. That's why we're here on this panel. But for me and for our experience at DOT, first and foremost is, and we heard this morning, putting young people at the center. So as partners, as the designers of the solutions, as the leaders accessing the institutions, et cetera, that may have research or data or other things that can be available to them, listening to young people, what are their needs, what are their wants, and then putting them right at the center of the design. At DOT, we use something called a human-centered design approach to developing solutions to community challenges. And I think our entire network, and particularly here in Rwanda, we have seen some phenomenal innovations happening where young people themselves are designing with a client, like, for example, working with women to build their digital literacy skills, well, co-designing together what that solution might look like. So that is one. And the second one that I'll just touch on, which if we really want to see transformation, is about deliberately engaging young women and in this initiative and in innovation. There is research that demonstrates that if 3 things intersect for young women: innovation, changing social norms, and economic resilience. And if these 3 things intersect, we have demonstrated that they can make huge progress to women's empowerment and women's economic opportunity. This was a study that recently came out, funded by HDIF, associated with DFID. And we have to be deliberate. Just as we're deliberate about putting young people at the center, we have to be deliberate about engaging young women and understanding how they think about innovation. Because they may be in different industries, but the way they think about innovation, we all need to learn from that, and how they're leveraging technology to create enterprises and solutions. So those are silos that I really see throughout the work we're doing across multiple countries here in Africa.
Ok, bon, je vais aller en français toujours. Je pense que les barrières, je peux dire les barrières effectivement que les jeunes Africains, mais pas seulement les jeunes, parce que dans mon domaine, c'est pas seulement les jeunes, c'est les chercheurs en général en Afrique. C'est qu'on a un problème de budget, parce que ce qui est la recherche fondamentale, c'est quelque chose qui n'est pas très bien financé, ou bien on ne s'intéresse pas beaucoup à la recherche fondamentale, alors que la recherche fondamentale, c'est la base de tout. Et ici en Afrique, ce qui se passe, c'est qu'on a du mal à publier. On a du mal à publier dans des journaux de renom international. Et je pense que l'une des solutions vraiment auxquelles je pense, c'est la collaboration avec des chercheurs occidentaux. Et cela pourra nous permettre effectivement aux chercheurs africains à pouvoir publier dans des journaux de renom international et se faire connaître au niveau mondial. Parce que il y a des bons chercheurs, il y a des jeunes chercheurs en Afrique qui font des bonnes choses, mais on ne les reconnaît pas parce qu'ils n'arrivent pas à publier dans des bons journaux, donc les chercheurs de renom international n'arrivent pas à connecter avec eux, on ne les invite pas dans des congrès internationaux. Et ça, c'est une barrière hyper importante de tout ce qui a trait à la recherche en Afrique. Et surtout aussi, quand on parle des laboratoires de recherche, ici dans les pays africains, c'est plus les gouvernements qui gèrent ces laboratoires de recherche, alors que moi je pense qu'il faudrait beaucoup plus de laboratoires de recherche dans des universités. Parce que s'il y aurait des laboratoires de recherche dans des universités, les jeunes auraient accès à ces laboratoires. C'est-à-dire qu'il y aurait des chercheurs qui vont engager des étudiants en maîtrise ou au doctorat, et là, les étudiants vont commencer à s'initier à la recherche. Et ces chercheurs qui dirigent ces étudiants peuvent collaborer avec des chercheurs internationaux, et comme ça, on pourrait effectivement commencer à former notre génération future. Ça, c'est une des barrières que moi je trouve ici en Afrique, c'est qu'il n'y a pas trop de laboratoires dans les universités. Sinon, c'est vrai qu'il y a manque de matériel de pointe. C'est vrai que vu qu'il n'y a pas de budget alloué à la recherche, donc il n'y a pas de sous pour acheter de matériel pour faire la recherche. Sinon, écoute, je pense que côté accès aux données scientifiques, ça aussi c'est un autre problème, parce que c'est vrai que chaque chercheur, le succès, ce qui fait le succès d'un chercheur, c'est la lecture. Il faut lire. C'est important. Si on n'arrive pas à trouver des articles pour lire, on ne saura jamais c'est quoi les nouveautés, où est-ce qu'on en est. Si on ne connaît pas les nouveautés, ou si on ne sait pas où est-ce que nous en sommes dans tel ou tel domaine, on ne pourra jamais innover. Jamais innover. Pour innover, il faut défier les dogmes. Pour défier les dogmes, il faut connaître c'est quoi ces dogmes. Donc il faut lire. C'est vrai que l'accès aux articles scientifiques, c'est quelque chose qui est un peu difficile ici en Afrique, ça aussi j'ai remarqué. Mais je pense que, vu à quelle vitesse l'Afrique se développe, je pense que là, ça commence à se mettre en place. Voilà.
Now, talking about challenges, I really believe there is way too many to explain just a 1.5-hour session. But I'll just highlight two of them because these are some of the challenges we've faced while developing our company. This will be reputation and self-confidence. Now, with reputation, I'm just going to give you a quick example. If you own a really big farm, and then a young man, let's say 18 years old, approaches you and then says, I'm going to sell you this drone. It's going to fly all over your fields and then give you thermal images that can help you fertilize better your crops. in all honesty, you will be a bit skeptical because you'll think, I mean, you're 18 years old, what do you know about these things, right? And this is one of the problems that young innovators face, because sometimes we come up with good ideas, we find a very good way to implement these ideas, but then when it's time to take them to the market or for people to use them, then we're hit by, it's the first time I hear of you, or you are too young to know any of these things. So I would say sometimes being young and being a young innovator plays in your favor, and other times it can become a disadvantage. And that is just one of the things we've faced. Another one is self-confidence. Now, we grew up in a world where Google has made every single app that you can think of. And then there's other big companies that are making great things. We have Silicon Valley who are solving problems which we have not even imagined yet. And then, and I think this sort of affects the young innovators that we have today, because you will ask yourself a question that, what will I do that can really, impress these people, right? And you start doubting yourself and doubting your skills, and that becomes a barrier for people. It becomes a barrier for innovating. Because you start thinking that there's nothing I will do that these guys won't do better. And I believe these are some of the two challenges or silos that young innovators face today, and we faced in the past, and we've tried to find ways to overcome this. Yeah.
Thank you. And for this next part, I'd like for us to focus on what solutions can we provide to these challenges that we've just named. And I'll start with Lionel. As a fellow developer who's working in Rwanda, I've seen the difference between working in Rwanda and working in the US. In the US, you're developing the systems, so you have the source code and you can fix things whenever you need to fix them. But in the organization that I'm in currently, we outsource our software products. And this means that every time we need a change, we have to make a change request to whatever company that provided it. And that's extra money, but also extra time, and we cannot fix things as fast as we'd like them to fix, as we'd like them fixed. So how do we create homemade solutions, so to say? How do we start encouraging in-house development? As someone who's taken that over, how do you see that happening? How do we make that reputation not a hindrance anymore? And then maybe say, we want the ministry to endorse these young innovators who can do this, regardless of the fact that they have not done it anywhere else before, but we are willing to take a chance on them. How do you see young innovators overcoming that challenge in the silos of reputation and self-confidence?
In all honesty, 3 years ago when we started our company, we laid out one basic rule. This was templates are a sin. The reason we did that was because we wanted to prove that the skills we have, all the skills we can learn, can really be on an international standard. So it can be the same as you can outsource it from somewhere else. And that is what we try to do. I mean, it took us 3 years to get there, but I believe these 3 years were well spent. So the core of this is to encourage young people to have a bit more confidence in their skills, and to believe that they can perfect the art if they just do it long enough. I think the Ministry of Youth and other institutions are trying hard to try to find local talent to solve local needs before they start outsourcing, but that still has a way to go. And the reason it still has a way to go is because we, as the local talent, are not showing what we have to offer. Right? We still believe that if I make a platform, I'm supposed to be paid for it. But I need to first show the skill that I have, and then I will be paid for that skill. So an example I would give is, you mentioned that what can we do to have local institutions give a chance to local talent before outsourcing. And I would also give a challenge for local talent to prove their worth. Yeah, say we can do this. We know we can deliver. Reason why? Last year we worked on an internal product that can do this. We didn't have a client for it. We're not going to sell it, but it was us trying to show that we can do this kind of things. Now, while the local startups or companies aren't able to show that yet, then there is no basis for the institutions to give them a chance. Yeah, so I really believe it starts with us showing that we can do this, and then that is when they can take a chance with us. An example I'd give is in the beginning of this year when Volkswagen approached the local IT companies, they wanted to see if what we can do can solve the need or the solution that they wanted to implement. And we had to work our off to really show that we can be able to deliver this. And we worked tirelessly days and nights, but in the end we did. So I mean, it's all about encouraging the young people to really keep working hard so that once an institution comes and then says, you know, we have a tender for X amount of money to have a banking solution or a system for managing electricity and so on, then these people can say, you know what, we can do this because we have done something quite similar in the past, and you know, we believe we have the skills to solve this.
So going off of that, how do you work with other innovators to ensure that together as a group you're all advancing, right? To ensure that if you're not going to the tender because you're busy, then the next one can also do it. How do you break that silo, that working isolation sort of? How do you ensure that as a group of young innovators, because there's other software developers as well?
Yeah, true.
What platforms are there or need to be there in order to ensure that collective growth?
Something we realized in April this year was that we can't be able to fulfill the demand. Yeah, I mean, the cake is really big that we're just taking a very small piece of it. There's so much for everyone else. And as I said before, talent exists, it just has been shown or it hasn't been given the opportunity to show what they can do. So what we did earlier this year is we started a mentorship program. We did a small pilot with a few students from the University of Rwanda, SFB. And then what we did is we took them through a 3 months mentorship where we showed them the Awesomity way of developing a product, where they came up with an idea, helped them structure it, and then now they're taking it to market. So in our own way, this is how we feel like we are empowering others to do what we are able to do. But I do agree with you that there needs to be a platform that allows us to, and other companies to do this at a bigger scale. Right, because if we think of IT companies, only a few names will pop up, but there's so many people who can be able to do things. So I believe in the future there should be a platform that could help reach more people and empower more people to do what all the other big companies are doing.
Thank you very much, Lionel. Vous avez parlé que comme barrière, il y a le fait de ne pas avoir accès ou de ne pas être en contact avec des chercheurs occidentaux pour bien pouvoir conduire ses recherches ou publier ses recherches. Et aussi, tu as parlé du fait du manque de financement pour la recherche. Que penses-tu qui doit être fait pour adresser ces deux barrières en particulier?
Ouais, bon... Très bonne question. Bon, je ne sais pas s'il y a des officiels ici, mais bon, je pense qu'il faut sensibiliser. Bon, j'aurais dit le monde scientifique, mais là, il faut sensibiliser les autorités locales, pour essayer effectivement d'allouer un budget à la recherche fondamentale. Parce qu'il y a une chose qu'on doit garder en tête, c'est que la recherche fondamentale, c'est le début de tout. Regardez par exemple, quand je me suis toujours posé la question, pourquoi en 2018, on n'a pas un vaccin contre la malaria? Ça, c'est une question que les Africains devraient se poser. Mais après, tu te dis, mais c'est vrai, bon, écoute, aux États-Unis, il n'y a pas de malaria. Au Canada, il n'y a pas de malaria. En France, il n'y a pas de malaria. Écoute, je pense que ces gens, ce sont eux qui sont bien avancés dans le domaine de la recherche, ceux qui seraient susceptibles de développer ce type de vaccin. Mais il n'y en a pas chez eux. S'il n'y en a pas chez eux, donc c'est peu de le faire, ça va être à nous de le faire. D'accord ? Et là, c'est vrai que les Occidentaux, ils ont un pas, ils sont plus avancés que nous, mais ils nous ont appris des choses. Ils ont appris des choses, donc il faut qu'on commence à utiliser cette connaissance. Pour la malaria, il faut qu'on développe la recherche fondamentale, parce que donc en développant cette recherche fondamentale, on pourra effectivement arriver à développer ce type de vaccin. D'accord? Nous, les Africains, c'est à nous de le faire. C'est pas les Occidentaux qui vont le faire. Ça va être nous de le faire. Donc, c'est vrai que là, en commençant à réfléchir dans ce sens-là, je pense qu'on pourra quand même commencer à faire réfléchir les autorités à investir dans la recherche fondamentale. Sinon, côté collaboration avec les chercheurs occidentaux, je pense que c'est le début. C'est le début parce que vous comprenez que le monde dans lequel nous sommes, c'est la loi du plus fort. D'accord? On est bien d'accord que les Occidentaux sont bien avancés dans le domaine de la recherche. Donc, il faut s'associer avec eux. Il faut qu'ils nous apprennent des choses dans la recherche. Donc, il faut collaborer avec eux pour commencer, se faire connaître et leur montrer de quoi nous sommes capables. D'accord? Et je pense qu'en allant dans ce sens-là, en créant des collaborations, je pense que vous pouvez passer, vous connaissez le NEF maintenant, le NEF, il y a des NEF Fellows, ce sont des Africains, des jeunes Africains, la plupart ont fait des études à l'étranger, ils ont un réseau là-bas, on peut commencer via les NEF Fellows, leur demander s'ils peuvent vous créer des connexions à l'étranger. Je pense que ça serait quand même un début via le NEF. C'est un début. Le NEF, il a été créé, je ne sais pas, il y a quelques années. Je pense qu'ils sont bien intéressés à créer des collaborations, à créer des liens entre des chercheurs africains et des chercheurs occidentaux. Et moi, je pense que tout ce qui est, surtout la recherche fondamentale, parce que c'est quelque chose de très cher, ça coûte extrêmement cher, le matériel est très cher, mais je pense que les collaborations peuvent quand même nous aider à convaincre les autorités à investir dans ce type de recherche.
Merci beaucoup Yves. C'est vrai que le NEF, c'est vraiment un forum qui est important pour relier les innovateurs et les chercheurs africains dans le monde, pas seulement dans la région. Et si vous pouviez un peu parler de comment cela marche, comment vous vous êtes retrouvés dans NEF et comment est-ce que NEF vous aide à ne pas être isolé comme chercheur. Donc un Rwandais qui est au Canada, qui fait de la recherche, mais comment est-ce que NEF ou autre plateforme vous aide à rester en contact avec d'autres chercheurs et de connaître ce qui se passe dans le monde de l'innovation?
Non, c'est une très bonne question parce qu'effectivement, dès que j'ai été sélectionné comme les fellows, effectivement, on s'est rendu ici à Kigali. J'ai rencontré beaucoup de chercheurs africains. Et même moi, je ne savais pas qu'il y avait tant de chercheurs africains de renom international. Il y a vraiment des chercheurs brillants. Mais moi, j'étais épaté, tu vois. Mais ce qui est bien, c'est que quand j'ai quitté ici Kigali, quand j'ai quitté la réunion du NEF en mars, oui, c'est en mars, ouais. Et le lendemain, la semaine suivante, j'étais déjà en contact avec un FLO qui est bioinformaticien. Donc déjà, actuellement, je travaille avec lui. On collabore énormément. On va publier un papier avec lui. Donc déjà, ça te montre à quel point le NEF est très efficace. Donc, et là, ce qui est bien, c'est que là, je suis en contact aussi avec certains FLO qui œuvrent en Afrique. Et effectivement, par exemple, il y a des FLO qui travaillent sur des stem cells en Afrique du Sud et tout. Et là, on va commencer à créer des collaborations. Moi, j'ai un cercle de chercheurs de renom international au Canada, et lui, il en a besoin. Moi, ce que je vais faire, c'est que je vais le connecter avec ces chercheurs. Et puis, ces chercheurs, eux, ils sont déjà intéressés. Ils sont déjà intéressés. Ils disent, oh, waouh. Déjà, quand je leur ai parlé, quand je leur ai montré le profil d'une FLO en Afrique du Sud, ils ont dit, bah ouais. ah, il y a des Africains qui sont quand même assez... je dis, bah oui, hein, qu'est-ce que vous croyez là? Mais bon, c'est quelque chose de très intéressant avec l'ONEF. J'y crois beaucoup. J'espère qu'on va avancer beaucoup, surtout dans la recherche fondamentale.
Merci beaucoup, Yves. Janet, so, Digital Trust, Opportunity Trust has extensive reach within the youth communities and women communities, and works with many of the solutions that they develop. What practical solutions can be brought forward to break the silos that you talked about? You talked about youth and women empowerment to ensure that we understand it the way they understand it in order to propel it forward, but also what partnerships can be leveraged to deliver the relevant innovations in the field that you work in.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I just really want to echo what my co-panelists have said, both in terms of the talent that exists here and also in terms of the confidence that youth need to bring their ideas and solutions forward. But I would also argue that we flip the model, because I think the institutions and I think the service delivery organizations need to step out of the way and ensure that youth are at the center of this movement, and that it isn't about service delivery, it is about youth leading a movement of change and social innovation across the continent. The types of partnerships that we have seen work very effectively, I can give a specific example here in Rwanda, where we've launched the Digital Ambassadors program, and we've mobilized 100 young men and women here in Rwanda as digital ambassadors, and they are driving the government of Rwanda's initiative, this Digital Ambassadors program, to basically bring digital literacy skills to millions of citizens in the country. And this is being done through a broad stakeholder collaboration that includes the government, that includes Rwanda Online, local private sector partners, as well as international partners, but most importantly, young people right at the center, as I talked about before, who are designing solutions for example, women who are living in remote areas that only have feature phones, but they want to know how they can register their children for school as Rwanda goes online more and more. And so we're designing those solutions, the young people are together. So this is a broad collaboration, and collaboration is critical in these days. You cannot go at it alone. I have a wonderful quote that the hardest thing to do in partnering is to not partner, which sounds a bit odd, but that's the reality. So collaborations and stakeholders are important. The second example I will give has to do with building a digital solution to support an ecosystem of innovators, of young entrepreneurs. And we learned the hard way. It's a digital solution, and I live in Canada, and we were working with one of Canada's leading technology companies to design the solution, and we stopped 3 months in, and we said, no, we're approaching this entirely wrong. We shifted everything to the continent, and we are incubating, as we speak, a team of young innovators that are based in South Africa, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, and Tanzania, and Ethiopia. And they are designing a peer-to-peer community that will help young innovators overcome the barriers that they face in a peer-to-peer way. So, Lionel, with your 4 years, 5 years experience, joining this community when there are some young people with their ideas just prototyping, how you engage in a community, in a digital support solution, and build that community is something that young people have told us doesn't exist anywhere for them, particularly young women. So we designed it with young women in mind first and foremost, but that's flipping the model so that the ecosystem and the partnerships are driven by what young people are telling us. And I know my passion's coming out, but I've been in this business of youth unemployment for so many years, and we have to walk the talk, like we heard this morning. We have to execute, but it's got to be in support of what young women and men are telling us.
Thank you very much, Janet. So I'd like to open it up to the audience. First, I hear that we have Honorable Minister Isaac Kwame Asiama. Is he in the audience? No? No? Okay. So I think we'll just go ahead. But I'd like to set a bit of ground rules. So in order to make this productive and engaging, we'd like to stay with the same theme, right? So how to break silos amongst African innovators. So we'd like to hear from the innovators in the audience. If you could tell us who you are, what you do, what challenges you face in your work, and is trying to connect to the ecosystem to make sure that it's sustainable as well. Do you have someone to tell us the mic? If you want to address it particularly to one of the panelists, or simply tell us about what you do, I think 2 minutes per person is quite fair.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Ruimbana Mzamir, a member of Kwanda Lab, and also the founder of Smart Water Rwanda. So my question, actually it is a suggestion and also at some points a question. The government or the development agencies. In 2016, when I came up with this idea of making a digital water meter, which I call Smart Water Rwanda, so it was a digital meter that was to be used by the YCA, which is the body that governs the way we use water in Rwanda. So I had to approach Fab Lab, do some, trying out to prototype. And then after I've seen that I want to be somewhere here, I had to approach the CEO of YCA. And the CEO of YCA was just very pleased with the idea, but remember this is just an idea. So he told me that he could never support an idea unless they can support piloting a prototype. So this goes direct to what Yves has said, that our government or the development institutions need to set up that fund, the fundamental. Because we don't need money, we need to bias maybe what we exactly need to use. Like in my meter, I don't need the dollars, but I need exactly what to use. And I think if that is there in the laboratories, like at Fab Lab, where we go to practice this, that actually will make these innovations come to life within just months, not even many years. I think that is a very, very big constraint to we, the innovators. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think for me, I'll first of all highlight what we do is a way of creating a bridge between connecting the innovators. So my name is Dumisani Dube, and I'm from an organization called Insight to Impact, based in South Africa. So what we did in 2016 is we launched an initiative called the Data Hack for Financial Inclusion. And the main objective of this initiative is to say, how do we support the skills development within data and data science to enable innovators to be more data-driven in their decision-making. And in so doing, I think it's been a wonderful experience. And we've launched in fact, we've completed 2 seasons. And each season runs from around about November of each year into May of the next year. And we've just opened up applications for the 3rd season. So I think one of the key challenges I would highlight is access to data. And I think that's one thing that we've noticed that is difficult for innovators to get a hold of, where we're saying, can they make use of alternative sources of data as they innovate? However, you would notice that that is not easily accessible, and that has constantly been a challenge to the innovators. But I think in highlighting that challenge, I'll just buttress on the point that our work is looking at connecting the innovators across Africa. So we're doing this across 8 African countries, and I think it's exciting to see how powerful it is to connect these innovators across the region. Thank you.
Hello and good evening. Thank you very much all the honourable gentlemen and ladies. My question is for the honourable young man, Lionel. As an entrepreneur who's looking to actually launch his idea into the community of the Libyan community, I've always struggled to try to identify those who are able to actually start with me with my idea. And I think hearing your story about your progress and success that you did, I appreciate all your effort and wish you all the best in your company. But my question is, how did you manage to identify those people who actually helped you and held your hand to start your business? And whether the idea came from you and from someone else? Thank you.
Afternoon. Thank you very much. I've got two questions, one for you, Janet, and the other for Lionel. My name is Terence Ngwa from Zimbabwe. I run a company called Educate, which is an education access and people improvement company. And we also run another venture that does pitch nights in our city. Now, my question to you, Janet, is I know you're dealing with youth and you're sort of turning youth into problem solvers in their communities. How can we use what you're doing to build teams? Because I find as we grow, the hardest question is how do I get the right person in the organization to allow it to grow further? So if you could share some nuggets on how you find in your ventures or your work, how to effectively build teams for impact. And to you, Lionel, with your venture. So two questions for you. The first being, how did you manage to keep afloat? Surely you didn't start, unless you started with making. How did you manage to keep afloat? And then this is to the rest of the panel. How do we get to a point where we can have runway funding that allows ideas to be tested and to fail and still move forward as a continent? Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Hawayoki, and I'm from Sierra Leone. And basically, I'm from Light Salon Innovation. And what we do is, last year we innovated a technology, which is a solar wind, wherein we're able to combine the technology, the power of the wind and the power from the sun, to provide electricity for 50 houses in a community that didn't have electricity. And one of the things that we are facing is scalability. So my question is, how can we ensure, or how can the panelists there can ensure us to have scalability in what we do, and also to, especially the aspect of funding, because which is something that is missing from our own side, to have access to a little bit of funding. Yeah.
Thank you. I think we're going to keep it to 5 at a time, if you'll allow. And then I'll ask the panelists to comment. I think the first one regarding the smart water meter, I don't know if it was addressed to someone in particular. Maybe it can go with the recommendation that Eve gave to request authorities to basically have funds that allow for these incubators or these projects to work. But maybe someone who works with the youth-led projects can also speak to that. So I don't know if Janet would like to maybe touch on that a bit and then ask the questions that were specific to each of the panelists.
Thank you. I actually heard your recommendation, I think, which was about setting up an innovation fund or a fund that youth can access. So I wasn't quite sure what the question was, as much as that was the recommendation, which I totally agree with, of course. And I think the financing has filtered into a lot of the questions, so as we answer some of the others, because that clearly is an ongoing challenge for many of us as social innovators.
You can proceed with the other questions that were
okay.
directly towards
the one, teams. So yes, thank you. Something very close to our heart at DOT, because one of the things that we really encourage is you as the entrepreneur, you may have a brilliant idea, you cannot do it by yourself. And it's bringing the different talents. Recognize your own talent, and then find in your networks the talent you need. It could be financial talent, it could be technology talent, marketing talent, but those organizations, those enterprises that are successful from the get-go have a talented team behind them. Where you find them is through your networks, unquestionably. You can also find them online in a time where work is being done online and in different ways. So I'm pleased that you have that mindset shift. And then there's more that can be done about how you build effective teams and how your teams work together. and we could have a much longer conversation about that, but the main point is definitely collaborate, come together as a team. Investors will be more open to you if you're bringing a talented team together. This is really, really critical. The single entrepreneur, I think, is not a real story. I think we've heard from everyone here. We've connected with people, you know, within a month or two when I founded DOT, I had 2 other women working with me. There's no way I could have done it without them and beyond. So we can certainly talk more. Okay. The other was runway funding. Yeah.
Yes.
The other one was runway funding and scale, right?
I think maybe Lionel can take over the rest of the questions.
I'll start by answering the first gentleman. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, but you asked something about how I was able to identify the people who I am working with now. And it is particular to every person. I wouldn't say necessarily I used the same approach for everyone I was able to recruit. But what I would say is you have to be able to sell your vision to someone else. Because in all honesty, when you're starting a company, there is a very good chance that you don't have any money, which means you won't be able to pay any good person. So if you started a company with millions of dollars in investment, you just go to a university, hire the best graduate they have, and then they'll develop whatever you want. But the issue is most people, when they start a company, they don't have money. So you need to sell people on your vision, and then once they love it as much as you do, they'll want to do something with you. And that is one of the approaches we use building the core team at Osomity, is we try to show them this is where we want to be in 5 years. Or better, this is where we want to be in 6 months. It is going to be challenging, it's going to be exciting, and honestly, together we can accomplish great things. So we try to sell people on our vision. And then the second thing is, don't expect the best at the start. The truth is, sometimes you just need people who are willing to learn, and then together they will learn to perform a task which you want them to perform. For example, if you happen to have a friend who you're willing to work with, and then maybe you want them to do sales and marketing for a product you're developing. They might not have the skills for sales and marketing, but if it's a person who's able to learn, they'll learn how to do that, and then they'll fulfill it. They'll fulfill that position. But if you are the person who's building the team, you should know that in the beginning, you're supposed to be everything for your company. So you're supposed to be the developer, the researcher, the sales, the marketing, and then you have to find people you sell, you convince on your vision, and then they'll be able to learn to accomplish those other tasks with you. And I was really lucky that when we started, we were 4 at the time, and we were all agreeing on a particular goal we wanted to accomplish. And then from there, we built the team one by one person getting another one, and that is how we have grown to where we are now. And your question was, how were we able to stay afloat? 3 years ago, we started the company with 23,000 Rwandan francs. I'm not joking. I am honestly not joking. So 23 Rwandan francs, that was the money we used to buy an internet bundle for the month on a modem, which we would share between each other. Yeah. That is how we started the company. And then... And the reason I gave this example specifically is because most innovators will not innovate because they think that they have to wait for funding. You really don't have to. For the first office space, we convinced the landlord would make a website for him, so he gave us a space to work for free. And that was the first office. So I think how to stay afloat, you have to be smart and look at what you have. Right? I remember we started making money, I believe, 2 years after the company started. And I would always tell my dad that I need transport money to go to work. And then he would ask me, but you are going to work, why do you need me to give you money? So I mean, it's all about looking at the opportunities you can get and then trying to leverage as much from it as possible. There was a time where our office was the school library because it had free internet. So I really believe staying afloat is how smart you are on using the available resources. Use whatever that you can find for free, convince whoever you can convince to lend you some money, and then be able to pay them back eventually. But then honestly, you don't need to have millions of dollars of funding to be able to create something that is innovative. And then, was there another question? I don't remember. If I could just touch a bit on that, is most startups get funding through competitions, yeah. So they apply in competitions. If you're lucky enough, you win, and then you get some funding. We failed at almost every competition we ever applied to, but doesn't mean you have to stop there, right? And then, us specifically, we raised runway funding through our first client, who, I mean, we're not sure how we convinced him, but he paid us without having any really so much background projects that we had to our name. But we raised our funding through getting our first client. That came 2 years after starting the company, but that is how we did it. But I know most people go for competitions, and if you are in Rwanda and also other countries in Rwanda, there is this really good program called Face the Gorillas, where you don't face real gorillas, just people who have a lot of money. But that is also a very good way to raise runway funding. But again, don't rely on external people to give you money. Be your first investors by investing your time, your skills, and then you can move to other people.
Thank you. There was a question from Hawayuki about scalability. How do you scale up your solution, your product? I don't know who would like to take this on and give advice. I think maybe Janet or Eve or Lionel.
I believe Janet answered by saying collaborating.
He said cooperate, yeah. Well, I certainly, first of all, what you have is 50 homes, which is tremendous. 50 homes that are using your product already, which is tremendous. And you really need to build on that. But again, the mindset is not about scaling as an individual entity. It is about exploring the collaborations that you can build in order to scale. And sometimes that is stepping back a little bit and just saying, what's my core focus of expertise, and who can I find that will bring what else I need, and begin to grow and scale your products or your services that way. We see this happening more and more worldwide. It's sometimes called the network approach to scale. Secondly, you have to really define what scale means to you. And it isn't just about numbers, it's about scaling impact. And if scaling impact is the important piece, then that allows you to also look at different ways that you can collaborate, and different partners that you can bring in who are working in a similar field to scale your impact together. That collective nature, it's trends worldwide, and it's really critical that, because you'll get a big leg up that way if you think about scaling from a different approach. Not about the money, not about us going it alone, scaling impact and working with a network of partners to drive that. You know, the networks I'm in, we're late stage social entrepreneurs, we're still struggling with scaling. Yes, DOT has scaled to many, many countries, and it's been a really tough journey, and we couldn't have done it without our ecosystem of partners. So it's an ongoing challenge. So if you get really clear about what is it you want to scale, that will help you look at different solutions.
Thank you very much, Janet. I think we can take on the next interventions. We have about 10 minutes left, and then we're going to wrap this up. If the ushers can help us with distributing the microphones.
Je m'appelle Chérif Alouaïda, je suis malien. Au fait, je suis développeur. J'ai fait une application qui permet de gérer les séances, c'est-à-dire les prêts qu'on prend à la banque. Donc, je l'ai fait pour une entreprise malienne. Là, ça s'est arrêté là depuis lors, je n'ai pas pu vendre cette application à quoi que ce soit. Mais l'observation, la remarque que j'ai faite, donc j'ai regardé sur le net, je n'ai trouvé aucune application qui permet de gérer la gestion des séances. Donc, est-ce qu'il serait possible de commercialiser ou pour que mon application puisse être utilisée dans des entreprises africaines ou dans le monde?
Bonsoir, je m'appelle Moustapha Signaï, je suis entrepreneur au Sénégal dans le domaine de l'artisanat. En fait, nous avons tous remarqué que la plupart des startups africaines ferment au bout de 5 ans ou plus. Et partout, on entend parler d'innovation technologique numérique. Mais ne pensez-vous pas qu'on a sauté une étape, celle de l'innovation technique? Parce qu'il faut dire que l'Afrique n'a pas les mêmes défis que les pays occidentaux. Ici, notre base de développement forcément tournera autour de l'agriculture et de l'artisanat et autres. Est-ce qu'il ne faudrait pas à un moment donné penser à l'innovation technique dans le domaine de l'agriculture, dans le domaine de l'artisanat, de la maroquinerie, de la cordonnerie, et après essayer d'affilier ça aux innovations technologiques au niveau des startups? Merci.
Receivables exchange, and when we offer our alternative financing solutions. So what we realize in our market is that for a lot of small entities, they don't have access to financing because they don't have collateral. Therefore, the banks don't give them time of day. So what we offer are working capital solutions. And the main issue that we're facing is over and above marketing our products. We also need to educate our market for them to realize the need they have for products. So I think my question in general to the panelists is how have you managed to deal with that in terms of marketing, yes, but having people understanding they actually need what it is that you are offering. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Porinel. I'm from Rwanda. I'm engaged in ICT industry. My question goes with magnetic things, just attraction and repelling. So when young leaders, innovators are creating solutions, and they are also problem owners like companies, my question goes to Lionel. Who do you think might approach either between the young leaders with solutions and problem owners like company to solve the problems? Because you have like an experience working with Volkswagen. So many people approach the people have solutions, but those companies or many problem owners are not willing to collaborate. So what's your advice to them? So thank you. And I want to thank also Monsieur Gilles Mugabo. La collaboration avec les chercheurs occidentaux, it's a good solution to the problem we have here in Africa. I think he must also be the voice to boost up that solution. Thank you.
Bonjour, moi c'est Emmanuel Bissimois. Je suis entrepreneur congolais également cofondateur de KivuCop, qui est une agence de marketing digital. Nous sommes également dans l'agriculture. Au fait, depuis récemment, nous avons commencé la culture de la spiruline, qui est une algue et l'aliment naturel avec le plus de protéines au monde, quoi. Au fait, nous sommes en train de travailler pour étendre la culture à d'autres entrepreneurs parce que nous sommes aussi dans l'échange des opportunités. Mais nous avons besoin d'avoir accès au marché international, principalement les grands groupes pharmaceutiques, parce qu'ils utilisent la spiruline pour beaucoup de travaux. C'est que nous avons du mal parce que nous allons produire en grande quantité. Nous voulons avoir accès à ces marchés internationaux de groupes pharmaceutiques pour vendre et avoir beaucoup plus de fonds pour étendre la culture à d'autres entrepreneurs dans d'autres régions. Merci. Ma question s'adresse principalement à notre confrère de Nef Fellow.
Thank you very much. I think we'll let the panelists address the questions. And if you have any more time after that, we can take more questions as well. So I don't know who would like to start. Yves, tu veux commencer avec...
Oui, je peux commencer, oui. Bon, merci beaucoup pour votre question. Bon, c'est vrai que ça, c'est un problème un peu délicat, avoir accès aux compagnies pharmaceutiques. C'est pas seulement en Afrique, même nous, au Canada, c'est galère un peu. Donc, mais effectivement, comme je disais tout à l'heure, le meilleur moyen de se faire connaître, effectivement, pour attirer les compagnies pharmaceutiques, c'est de publier dans des gros journaux. Mais vous, effectivement, comme vous me dites, c'est plus au niveau donc de commercialisation. Et avoir accès, c'est essayer de participer à des congrès internationaux, par exemple, si c'est possible, parce que là-bas, c'est là où les compagnies pharmaceutiques viennent dénicher effectivement toutes ces innovations. D'accord ? Le meilleur moyen, c'est d'essayer de demander des fonds et d'essayer de participer à des congrès scientifiques. D'accord ? À ce moment-là, vous pouvez avoir accès à des compagnies pharmaceutiques, à des gens donc, qui viennent de ces compagnies. Et là, vous pouvez discuter et commencer à leur exposer votre projet à vous. Et là, je pense que la plupart des startups, d'ailleurs, ou la plupart des organismes ou des compagnies africaines qui ont eu des financements dans ce sens-là, c'est qu'ils ont pu participer à des congrès internationaux et puis ils ont pu créer des relations, des collaborations avec ces compagnies-là, quoi, à partir des congrès internationaux. Je pense que pour l'instant, c'est le seul moyen, parce que sinon, il y a des demandes, ils font des concours, mais comme vous le savez, les concours, c'est très restreint, il y a juste un petit pourcentage de gens qui sont subventionnés. Mais pour essayer donc pour augmenter vos chances, il faudrait peut-être participer à plus de congrès internationaux dans votre domaine. Je pense que c'est le conseil que je vous donnerai, moi. Merci.
Merci Yves. Je pense qu'on avait une autre question de Chérif du Mali, parlant de comment commercialiser son produit aussi. Et une question similaire de Francesca. Yes. And then I think one from Apollinaire about who should approach you in terms of marketing your product or funding coming to you, type of thing. So I think I'll have all of you address some of that.
Okay. Sure. I'm happy to talk about marketing, and I found it very interesting the way that you put it. How do we educate our market for the need of what you are offering? And so if you could flip that a little bit and think about how you engage the people who you are designing the product for. So, and by doing research, so it's a different kind of research, it's more action research, and you're actually fully engaging with them. And normally I would argue you start that from the beginning before the product is even designed, right? So you probably have done things like that, but continuing to engage them, not just for the design of your product, but ongoing. Because once you have, it's called growing with your clients. You know, once you've got them engaged with you, how do you continue to grow with them? What's changing in their life? What's changing in your product life cycle? How do you grow along the way? And the extra innovations that you can do to stay connected with them and keep them informed. It's so much about that user, that client, rather than a push, it's an engage.
I'll first answer the question which was directly addressed to me, where you asked about basically who should approach who, the person who has a problem or us who have the solution. What I would suggest is, why can't it be both? So at times you approach a person because you have identified a problem that they have and because you believe you can offer the solution. Or at other times, if you're lucky enough, the person who has the problem will approach you, right? I believe it's at most time a combination of both, but also it comes down to if I identify a problem that a certain organization has, how good am I to convince them that my solution will help them? Yeah, and that is a challenge on its own. But I'll just give an example. A few years ago when the iPhone was introduced, to be honest, it was solving, phones existed, people could call, yeah? People could send messages. And then Apple comes with a fully touchscreen phone, and then they're going to sell it to you for a lot more money. But what Steve Jobs did was to convince people of a need they didn't know they had. So I believe this is a skill we're supposed to have, to be able to convince them and then show them, you have a problem here. I can make it better. And sometimes it's not even a problem, it's just inefficiency. You propose, you say, it can be done better, and by the way, I have a prototype. Use this for 30 days, use it for 3 months, and then you yourselves realize that this is actually making our work better, and then they'll agree maybe to sign up, to use the product. But for our particular market in Rwanda, I believe we have to make the first move and then propose to people, say, I see how your process works. I believe with this solution, it can be done better, and I am willing to give it to you to try it out, and then you yourself will realize the need you have for it, and then you'll be able to buy it. I believe that is a good way to do it. And another question was, I believe it was from Zimbabwe, yeah? You mentioned something about how do you convince people that, that they need what you are offering, yeah? And it comes back to what Janet just said of people developing client-centered solutions. At most times, we have the skills and we are passionate about our idea that we go straight ahead to developing it. And then once we're done developing it, we have a hard time selling it to clients. I believe that is the issue my colleague faced when he says he was able to sell it to one person, but then from there he wasn't able to get any other client. I think at most times we're so passionate about what we do, which is not a bad thing, but we're passionate about what we're doing that we only think of ourselves as the only clients, and we develop something that will work for one person. I believe, as Janet said, clients or our potential users should be involved in the first steps. After the light bulb, you should invite them for a sit-down, and then you say, I think this should work this way, but you are going to be the people to use it. How do you think it should work? And then engage with them, learn with them how to make your solution, really carve them into what they want to use every day. And then I believe that is how you convince them of a need. Because if you think about it, if somebody was involved from the conception of a solution, you're basically informing him every day of the need that he has to use your solution. So once you're done, they'll be more keen to using it. And another remark I would just make, which is, I think it's general to most of the questions that were asked, is we keep comparing ourselves with the solutions or the app or the startups that we see from other countries, from the West and from Europe. The thing is, these countries are so developed that they're making solutions for future problems. That is how AI comes in. That is how augmented reality and all the other robotic solutions come in, because they're thinking of solutions of problems they know they'll face today. Africa, we need solutions of problems we're facing now. We need things in agriculture. As he said, we need technical skills. And that is what we should really aim at developing. And what I would just add on is, if you search for something and you cannot find it, it simply means you are the one to create it. So if you looked for a platform that empowers people to learn technical skills and you can't find it, it simply means that you are the one to create that platform. Because at the end of the day, I think we are laying a ground for the next innovators. These guys will have life easy for them, but it's up to us to prepare the field for them to proceed. So if we can't find something, it's up to us to create it for the next person to not face the problems we're facing today. That's it.
Thank you very much. Because we're short on time, I think we're going to go ahead and conclude this session. But please be reminded that there's other innovators in the room. We've heard some of them speak. I'm sure there's more that we didn't have the opportunity to listen to. This Youth Connect Summit is time to connect. So please meet people, talk to people, market your product, ask another innovator about the challenge you're facing, and see if maybe they have a solution, if maybe they have found a way to solve that challenge. So I invite you to really connect and really make this time to find the solutions to your problems and find new solutions to the problems that we have. As Lionel just reminded us, Africa needs solutions for the problems that we have now. And I'm sure we have a lot of problems, and we're quite aware of those. And so this has been a very enjoyable session. I'd like to ask the panelists to recap what we've discussed, what the silos are, what the challenges are, and how do we break those, as well as the input we got from the audience. How would you like to conclude your concluding message in order to break the silos of African innovators?
Am I first? Okay. Well, I think to summarize what was just talked about, the opportunities that are here. Yes, problems, but I actually look at them as opportunities. And so creating your own opportunity, solving a challenge that you live with every day. You know that you have a potential solution to a challenge. And network with your teams. Don't create silos. Network so that those solutions can come to the fore. I live in Canada, the so-called developed world, and believe me, the innovations that are happening here are so unique and so actually relevant to your life and your world and where Africa is going and where young people are driving it. Our banks are spending billions of dollars to stop anything like mobile money coming into our countries. And, you know, the advent of mobile money across so many countries here has opened up huge economic opportunities for millions and millions and millions of people. So, you know, think about your solutions, look at those challenges, you live with them. Don't be afraid to steal. There was Steve Jobs, he was out there, go steal ideas and innovate. So you're connected, right? You're on the net. Who's doing what, where? Bring it in. Seriously. This is important work you're doing. So don't be afraid to do that, and really believe in yourself and the potential, and don't create silos, you know, build and work with your networks.
Bon, merci beaucoup. Bon, je vais continuer sur ce que Janet vient de dire. Ne soyez pas effrayés, effectivement. Bon, il y a une définition officielle de ce que c'est l'innovation, mais moi j'ai ma définition à moi. L'innovation, c'est de défier les dogmes. D'accord ? Défier les dogmes. Hein, on a appris tellement de choses, mais est-ce qu'on va juste s'asseoir sur nos acquis ? Non. Il faut défier les dogmes. Si on veut innover, il faut défier les dogmes. D'accord ? Moi, quand j'ai pu découvrir l'enzyme, j'ai été têtu. Je vous le dis tout de suite. Mon patron, il me disait, non, ton truc c'est un artefact, mais il me disait en anglais, put it in drawer, you know. Et moi, je me suis dit, non, il me raconte des conneries là. Moi, je vais continuer parce que j'y crois, je crois beaucoup à mes résultats. Croyez à vos résultats, les amis. Ceux qui font de la recherche, croyez beaucoup à vos résultats. Et je vous assure que vous allez innover et faire l'Afrique, comment on va dire, le point de tournant de l'innovation. Bon, merci beaucoup.
I would like to end by saying that, first of all, I am really impressed by the diversity that is present in this room. We have so many people from different countries and so many people bringing forward a diversity of solutions. And I really believe that a person in this room has the solution to a problem someone else in this very room is facing. So I would encourage us to work together, talk with each other to see how we can help each other, develop Africa. And my final remarks are, let's work together, let's be as good as we think we are, and let's let the solutions we make speak for us. Because as I said in the beginning, being young can be an advantage and a disadvantage. But the products that we make have no age. They only have competence and they only have how good they are. So let's just let them speak for us. So thank you.
Thank you very much. If you could help me again to thank the panelists for this session. And this brings us to the close of this session. Thank you very much for being a very engaging audience.